All right, you know how people talk about systems and how leaders benefit from them. And of course, because they benefit from them, they're never going to change them, right? Yeah. So let me introduce you to the absolute exception to that rule. Chester A. Arthur, this guy, a man who had no business being president and somehow ends up being one of the best examples of real leadership in US history. So let's set the scene here. It is the Gilded Age. Post Civil War, Reconstruction has basically collapsed, and politics is just favors on favors on favors. You vote how your party wants you to. Cool. It gets your cousin a government job. Dog catcher, customs officer, whatever. This is called the spoils system. The government had exploded in size after the Civil War. And instead of hiring people who are qualified, they're just handing out jobs like they're, I don't know, drink tickets at the bar. Chester Arthur, he's deep in it. He's a top guy in the machine in New York, tight with Senator Roscoe Conklin, who's this guy who, by the way, had a reputation as a totals ladies man. Yeah, I don't get it either. This whole time, it's just dripping with corruption and ego. But this is probably the wildest part. At this point in history, none of what they're doing is illegal. It's just how the game is played. It's totally normal and totally acceptable. And Arthur is winning at that game. During this time, he is vice president for Garfield. And then Garfield gets assassinated. And through this freak, tragic chain of events, Chester Arthur stumbles into the presidency. And nobody was expecting anything from him except more of the same corruption and bullshit. He is literally the last person you'd bet on to clean up this system. And this is where it gets cinematic as hell, okay? Because once he's in the big chair, he starts getting pressure from all sides. The machine bosses want their favors, and reformers are screaming for change. Chester Arthur, the man who personally benefited the most from this rigged system, he changes his mind. He looks at the exact machine that made him powerful and basically says, yeah, this is wrong. We have to fix it. He backs serious civil service reform. He supports rules that say you don't get a government job because you helped my campaign. You get it because you can actually fucking do the job. I mean, this is insane. He is cutting into his own power. He is disappointing his own people, and he's stepping away from the only system he has ever known. And that's, right there, is why I am low-key obsessed with Chester Arthur. Not because he was some perfect hero, not because he was a good guy in every part of his life, but because when it really counted, he did something that almost no leader does. He was flexible enough to abandon what benefited him in order to do what was right for everyone else. He changed his fucking mind in public, at scale, and then changed the system that made him powerful. Look, we talk a lot about leadership, but this is the bar for me. If the system that benefits you turns out to be harming everyone else, do you defend it, or do you have the guts to walk away from it and build something better? Chester Arthur, this random accidental president from the Gilded Age, answered that question the right way. And honestly, it makes him more of a leader than a lot of the people we celebrate today.